Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Desiree and I recently released a weight loss video, my weight loss transformation. I've lost almost 170 pounds and a lot of that within the last 2 years or so, and I've been maintaining that loss. And it's a pretty good video. If you haven't checked it out, I'll put a link so you can review that as well. I also recently put out a video about why I'm not keto. But we're gonna be talking about lots of things on my channel, everything from physical well-being to emotional well-being. Nothing is off the table. In fact, we're gonna be talking about some really interesting subjects, but stay tuned for that. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to my channel, do that as well. Give me a thumbs up and we'll keep on going. Today, we're gonna be talking about the 12 things that held me back. Let's get into it. All right, number one, calories. So in the beginning of my journey, I started doing keto, and I mentioned in my last video that a lot of times with a keto lifestyle, we don't really focus on the calorie consumption. And what was happening was I was consuming way too many calories. I would lose a little bit of weight or I would stall. Either way, I wasn't making as much progress as I wanted to. So I realized that the first mistake that I made was I was consuming too many calories. In order to cut that down, I decided to just take my portions and make them a little bit smaller. I did a lot of different things, which I'm going to cover in another video. I did some intermittent fasting, different tips and tricks to try to get those calories down. And also, I needed to figure out how many calories I needed. Not every day do I need the same amount of calories. So I mentioned in my last video that I'm a body worker, and on days where I'm really busy, I'm doing massages, I'm having a hard workout in the morning, different things, I need more fuel. I need more calories. But on days where I'm hanging out with the kids and I'm in my jammies and I'm watching TV, which now that I think about it doesn't happen all that often. Anyway, back to that. So back on track, calories. Calories are important. Figure out how many calories you really should have. If you're going to be on some kind of a diet where you want to lose weight, you need to be in a caloric deficit. That can happen with a lot of different types of diets. You can do it on paleo. You can actually do that with a vegan diet. You just have to research what's going to work best for you. Keto, you can do keto if you're also going to pay attention to your caloric intake. There are apps online or on your phone that you can do anything you need to do, but calories matter. So that was the first thing I did. I was consuming too many calories, had to shorten it. Calories are important. Number two, water. I mentioned this in my last video that water is so important. I was not drinking enough water. I thought I was drinking enough water, but I really wasn't. And I couldn't figure out why I felt lethargic. I was drinking about 36 to 50 ounces of water a day, and it just wasn't enough. So I realized I needed to get some help. I purchased this lovely thing, and I mentioned it in my last video. I love it. I take it everywhere. People make fun of me because it's so huge. I don't even care. I love the thing, and I actually had a workout this morning, so I've already refilled it. I do drink quite a bit of water. This itself is 80 ounces, but some days I'll drink 100 ounces of water. Generally, a rule of thumb is take your body weight and divide it in half. And that's how many ounces of water you should consume at least a day. Now, you don't want to be floating in water. And you will notice that there could be days where you have an extra pound gain. It's not fat that you've gained, it's water weight. So there's a little bit of a balance there, but water is important. You have to hydrate the body. Make sure you're getting in enough water. Number three, sugar-free snacks, sugar-free chocolate. I made the biggest mistake ever of discovering Russell Stover's stevia sweetened chocolates. Let me tell ya, they are delicious. Oh, they're so good. Guess what? They're also high in calories and high in carbs. You get 2 pieces, and I think it's like an average of 19 grams of carbs just for 2 pieces. And how about y'all? I have a hard time stopping with just 2. So I realized that that was an issue for me. I really couldn't consume a lot of that. The other thing that I was eating was, it was Halo Top ice cream and Sola ice cream. Sola is delicious, but for whatever reason, It just was making me gain weight. Part of it is that I will admit it was hard to eat just a serving. Did you know that a serving is like, it's like a half a cup? It's so little. So for me, it just didn't make sense. I had to cut it out. That was something that was holding me back. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't still enjoy it from time to time, but it is from time to time. And I've already gotten where I pretty much need to be. I'm working on my body, but if you're really trying to cut that fat down and you're trying to get to that goal, sugar-free candies and chocolates and sugar-free ice cream is going to be tough. Carb Smart is delicious, but it's gonna add up. So you really want to watch how much sugar-free you're consuming. Number 4, sleep. We do not get enough sleep. We need sleep. Sleep is so important, and I was not getting enough sleep. I was stressed out. I was tired. I was pushing myself hard in different ways. When you don't give yourself enough sleep, you don't have the energy to exercise. You are not getting recuperative sleep. Your cells do not have an opportunity to regenerate and refresh and restore. Sleep is so important. It also helps reduce stress, and you need that time. So what I realized was, in order to get where I needed to be, I needed to make a commitment to myself to put myself to bed earlier. I would stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning and then get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock. That's not enough sleep. So in order to make myself a priority and to make my sleep a priority, I started putting myself to bed way earlier, like 10:30. For me, that's pretty early. And I wasn't getting up until 7. So that was better than what I was doing before. And I pretty much stay in line with that. Once in a while, I'll stay up a little later, maybe if it's on a weekend. But for the most part, I know that for my body and for what I'm trying to accomplish, I need good restorative sleep. So sleep is important. Number 5, stress. Now, I'm not going to say you're not going to have stress. We all have stress. But I was stressed. I was stressed to the max. I was stressed. Part of it was putting undue pressure on myself to achieve goals, trying to be a wife, trying to be a mother, trying to help out with my parents, trying to help out with my friends, taking care of my clients. I was stretching myself very, very thin, and I realized I needed to have some balance. So stress was really making me fall behind in my progress. Stress is responsible for increased cortisol. Cortisol, it increases belly fat, and it just makes you feel terrible. So I had to figure out ways to manage my stress. That meant learning to say no. Saying no to things, figuring out what was important and what was not important. I started writing affirmations to myself. I journaled just a little bit. I listened to some good music. I was putting myself to bed earlier. I was just taking time to connect and think about self-care. Stress. So if you've got a lot of stress, just try to figure out a way to kind of balance that, because that held me back. It may not hold you back, but it held me back. And I realized I needed to manage my stress. So, stress. Number 6, alcohol. I know you're all mad at me. I talked about it last time too, but alcohol can hold you back. It held me back. It didn't hold me back all the time because I'm not a big drinker. But what I did notice was when I was trying to get to a specific goal, and let's say I had a couple of glasses of wine with my girlfriend, next morning, sure enough, there was a pound and a half, because wine can be pretty high in sugar. Now, I know that keto is a big thing and low carbing is a big thing. So other wine companies are coming out with some lower carb, lower sugar wines. But generally, if you're going to drink, like I said in my last video, make sure that you are limiting the amount of alcohol that you're consuming. A good tip is to drink water in between your alcoholic beverages so that you're actually consuming less, and maybe stick to liquor. If you're someone who does drink liquor, having vodka with some kind of Zevia. Zevia is one of my favorite sodas. I know I talked about soda in my last video. I love soda. But limiting what you consume as far as alcohol. that can hold you back. And it did hold me back from time to time. So I had to be really vigilant about not drinking the wrong things if I wanted to drink. So alcohol. Number 7, not getting in enough protein. Protein is so important. Protein is necessary for building muscle. Muscle eats fat. You need that. So now you can also have too much protein and not enough protein. If you're eating too much protein, then you have an excess. And what happens is if it's not burned off, it actually turns to sugar and fat in the body. Some people don't know that. So it's important to have an idea of where your protein levels need to be. But for me, I was actually not consuming enough protein. So there's so many different things that you can do to add protein to your diet. I do drink probably one smoothie every day for Monday through Friday because I'm busy and I'm in between clients. In my smoothies, I do have a pretty good amount of protein. I eat fish, I eat chicken. Unfortunately, I'm not vegan, at least not at this point. Who knows? I don't know. I might consider it. But for right now, I'm resorting to those resorting to that for food. So it's important to ensure that you're consuming enough protein. If you're not sure, there are apps. Again, with the apps, there's so many apps. You can download an app to see what your macros are or what your needs are for your protein level, but protein is important. You don't want to have too much, but you also don't want to have too little. And that was something that was holding me back. Not enough protein. Number 8, eating too many processed foods. So processed foods can be things like cheese, lunch meat. I do love prosciutto. I think I might have mentioned that in another video. I don't know. I love me some prosciutto. But I realized that a lot of cheese was holding me back. Cheese is high in fat, but it's also pretty high in calories. It could be lower in sugar and it could be lower in carbs depending upon the type of cheese you get, but it can certainly add up and can also slow down your digestive system. So that's something that you want to be aware of. Processed foods have a lot of sodium and they can make you feel very sluggish. So focus on whole foods instead of processed foods as much as possible. Trust me, you will thank me. Number 9, not keeping track. So I thought I had a pretty good plan. I thought, hey, I know what I'm doing. I know what I need to consume, but I wasn't making a lot of progress, at least to a certain point. I was stalling out, and we've all reached that place where we stall. So I broke down and finally decided to just keep a log of what I was consuming. And what I realized was all of the little hidden things that I was eating throughout the day. I am a mom, and unfortunately, I do the really bad thing of when my kids are done eating, if they haven't eaten everything on their plate, I would put it in my mouth. I know it, and I should not have been doing it. And I realized, oh my gosh, I have to write that down. If you bite it, you got to write it. And I realized I had all these extra things that I was consuming. Those are calories. So writing it down was important. The other thing was when I wrote it down or wrote down what I ate, I realized that my body was responding to certain foods a certain way. Certain foods made me feel inflamed. They made me retain water. So seeing it logged down helped me figure out where I needed to be. And I was able to write down how many calories I was consuming with certain things and just keep nipping at it until I figured out really what worked for me. So keeping track is really important, at least when you're first getting started. I wasn't keeping track and that held me back. Once I did it, I projected forward. Number 10, too much cardio. I spent months in the gym before COVID doing everything I could cardio-wise. Now, is that great for cardiovascular health? Absolutely. But I wasn't building muscle, and muscle is important. I've already said muscle, you need muscle to burn and eat fat, and it makes you strong. So I realized I needed to change that up. So what I do now is I have a little bit of cardio for about 10 minutes, and then I do weights and resistance training. I do a lot of that at home right now because I just haven't gone back out to a gym due to COVID. I'm pretty content with what I'm doing at home. And I work out with a friend of mine who's a trainer from time to time on Zoom. But for the most part, I do some cardio, and then I do weight training, and I also throw in a little dancing from time to time, because Mama like to get her groove on, and it's a great way to move all of the muscles in the body. So too much cardio can hold you back. Number 11, and I'm actually going to do 11 and 12 together, because the biggest thing that held me back was myself. I had doubt. I had fear. I was my own worst critic. I was my own worst enemy. I would push myself, and I wouldn't allow myself to enjoy my victories, my non-scale victories. I was constantly pushing myself. I was impatient. I wanted those results right away. I wanted to look incredible right away. I didn't want to take the time to invest in my emotions and figure out where my problems were really coming from, why I was diving into food when I felt bad. And that is a trend. It seems to be a theme with most people. If you have a weight issue, a lot of times it's because we use food to cope, to make us feel better. And I realized that if I was going to make progress, I needed to peel back the nitty gritty. I needed to do the work. So I needed to stop making myself my own worst enemy. I needed to be kind to myself, and you need to be kind to yourself too. In addition to that, making yourself a priority. I am a wife, and I'm a mother, and I'm a daughter, and I'm a massage therapist, and I'm all these things. I have all these hats, and I realized that if I was going to get where I needed to be, I needed to make myself a priority. I had to look at my schedule book, and I had to say, this is not important. That's not important. This is not important. I don't have to have my entire house cleaned by a certain time. I needed to make myself a priority. That meant that I needed to ensure that I was packing my food for myself. I needed to make sure that I was getting groceries and making meals that I enjoyed. Not that I don't enjoy cooking for my husband, but because he has a slightly different need for food than I do, because he has diverticulitis, I was focusing way too much. On making meals that he enjoyed rather than myself. I was focusing way too much on getting clients scheduled than scheduling time for myself to exercise. I needed to exercise. I needed to make myself a priority. I am important. My needs are important. My goals are important, and so are yours. So don't hold yourself back. Make yourself a priority. So if you've made it this far, awesome. I appreciate you. And I hope that some of these tips will help you along the way. I hope to have more content coming out. I'm really excited about where I am. I am about 1.5 pounds from my ultimate goal, which will be at 170 pounds lost. Probably even a little bit more than that. But I'm so thrilled. I'm thrilled with where I'm at. And I hope that wherever you are in your own journey, that you get to where you need to be, and that you take good care of yourself, and that you're kind to yourself and make yourself a priority. And I will be putting out some more videos, hopefully very soon. And if you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do that so that you can be notified every single time I put out a video. Thanks so much, guys. I hope you have the most amazing day. Go out, put joy into the world, and do you. Bye.